Cover 3 Tailgate. And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Danny Cannell. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcast on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, a.k.a. the Cover 3 Tailgate, where I sure do hope that every one of y'all, and I mean this, every one of y'all has signed up. Ooh, what you got, Danny?
You know, just a little new piece of hardware for the trophy.
Oh, let's go.
Celebrity shootout champion.
Yes.
You know, where I was yesterday. That's why I missed the show yesterday. I was out in West Palm Beach. Did see beat out Urban Meyer. He was one of the celebrities competing. Nick Saban was in the house.
Losers.
Mark Ingram, our buddy Brady Quinn. It was great. It was a great time. I did talk to Urban. Saban bounced right after. He didn't exactly stick around.
He was there for the golf only.
Yeah. He might have had one of those trunk slammer rounds where you get in, just slam the trunk, and you're out. But it was great catching up with people. It was awesome, and to be able to take home the hardware. Steve Walsh was one of my partners. The old Miami quarterback was there, so he was one of my partners that helped us take it home. Oh. Garrett always taking shots. Why am I always catching strays from Garrett? It was not the senior tees, Garrett. We were playing from the tips, like pros.
Playing from the senior tees.
Hey, listen, those aren't strays. Those are targeted. That's hey, and as always, you know, if Danny does all absences are excused absences when you return with a trophy. So anytime you're invited to play in a golf tournament, I think that's the in-house rules. If you return with the trophy like you did right there, then it's totally excused right there. If you want to claim a little bit of your own championship, if you want to claim the Bowl Pick'em Championship for Cover 3, well, then we need you to go and sign up, because that's right, just like in the regular season where we were giving out actual cash prizes with zero entry, we've got one coming for bowl season. So splashsports.com/cover3. I'm going to say it one more time. Splashsports.com/cover3. Here's what we got going on, because bowl season is here and we've teamed up with Splash Sports again for a bowl pick'em contest. Zero entry fee. $5,000 in splash cash on the line, and honestly, the ultimate bragging rights. Let me walk you through it. Here's how it works. You pick all of the bowl games against the spread. So that means, QR code. Thank you, Mikey. That means you go through, you make all their pick, but here's the twist. You pick one best bet per slate that's worth double points, so choose wisely. That best bet's going to be absolutely everything. It's pure strategy. Confidence meets risk, reward, and first place takes home $1,500 in splash cash for a free entry. Are you kidding me? We're paying out the top 10 spots too. So you've got a legitimate shot to cash even if you're not perfect. In total, we are talking $5,000 in prizes. Again, for zero entry, all yours for the taking. Go to splashsports.com/cover3. Free to enter. Takes 2 minutes. Lock in your picks, rep the Cover 3 community. Let's find out who really knows ball. Now, if you are already in there, you are aware, but just to give you a heads up, it's split up with the holiday slate. It's got the New Year's Eve locks. It's got the New Year's Bowls locks, but of course, it starts with the college football playoff first round. So lots to get in there. Playoff games will lock soon in terms of the spreads, though those things have been mostly staying put, right? I mean, have we seen a ton of line movement in any of the 4 first-round games?
Not like significant, no.
Yeah, a little bit of, maybe a bump here or there, but all of those, make sure you get in. Again, splashsports.com/cover3 to come and join us in our Cover 3 Bowl Pick'em. All right, We've got sort of a multi-layered episode here. We're going to be going through some of the players who have decided not to go to the NFL draft, the players who have decided to go to the NFL draft, the players who have decided to enter into the portal, what the portal might look like, plus coaching carousel updates. And of course, we will give you a look at some of the bowl games that are coming up over the course of the next 2 nights, mostly Wednesday night here, as we've got a fun one there in Orlando with ODU, South Florida, and also Louisiana and Delaware. But we'll just go ahead and call it a little portal. So let's jump into the portal. So when we went live Monday at 11, we discussed DJ Lagway. That was sort of the news of the morning. But then as soon as we got off, we had Brendan Sorsby entering the portal. And as soon as we got off, we had more quarterbacks entering the portal. It was a very busy start to the week. Again, as Dabo Sweeney will tell you, portal won't open until January 2nd. Then we'll check in with you. Maybe more on Dabo a little later. But Tom, as it was sort of a busy Monday, Tuesday of the transfer portal news, you know, how did you sort of see this play out from your seat?
It's going to be very, very interesting and a very, very lucrative offseason for a lot of different quarterbacks who are now entering the portal. I think that, like, the Raiola news was treated as like a big deal, but I think we all kind of have seen that coming for weeks. So nobody was all that surprised to see Raiola in the portal. I think Sorsby is something of a surprise. I don't know how you guys felt about that one. Like, I know in his statement, he said that it's going to be either the NFL, he's entering the portal, but he's also still exploring like the NFL. So I don't know how you guys felt about seeing that.
Wait, where's his girlfriend going?
No, I understand that part. Yeah, like, yeah, it's funny because
baby.
it's funny because like the Raiola enters the portal the same day, and everybody starts making he's going to Texas Tech jokes to be, to follow the Mahomes legacy. But then everybody's like, well, actually, if you believe in girlfriends, Brendan Sorsby's girlfriend, who played volleyball at Cincinnati, has now transferred to play volleyball at Texas Tech. So there's a lot of people who, because of that, feel like Sorsby is either going to be in the NFL or he's going to be Texas Tech's quarterback next year.
So I was not surprised about Sorsby entering. I think he was going to be a hot commodity, and I think it cooled off somewhat, but I do think he's been, he's probably had contact with some schools. He probably has an inclination of where, his top 3 spots are. So that's not too surprising. It's funny because of all these quarterbacks in years past, I felt like there's been a pretty clear cut, like, oh, this feels really good. And maybe even last year it was John Mateer, who you could argue has not been as advertised out there. Cam Ward the year before, loved him. It worked out. Of these quarterbacks, do any excite you as far as sure things? They all come with risk.
No, I mean, I don't.
I think I know where we're gonna go.
What?
Are you gonna say Philo? Yeah. But because
Philo.
he knows Buster, he knows the system, but he still hasn't played very much.
It's still the John Mateer thing. The question is, wasn't John Mateer a $4 million quarterback? And you could make an argument that John Mateer, given the price tag, maybe you could have a little bit of he's helped you win some games, especially, you think about the Michigan game early where it was just kind of, and Tom, you mentioned he was the run game for a good portion of the season, but that would be the one that I'd excite me. But again, I could be falling for the candy of, oh, he looked good 2 years ago. Oh, he knows Buster Faulkner. I can see how this comes together, especially from the Florida standpoint of, do I want the quarterback who's going to want to run the system and be ready to run the system at this price, or the DJ Lagway, see if we can fix something that's been a little bit broken over the last year. So Philo, to answer your question, Danny, that is the one, and right now the only one that truly excites me in terms of transfer portal quarterbacks.
Yeah. To your question though, I think we're seeing at the quarterback position, as far as the portal is concerned, the same thing we're seeing in the portal overall. Whereas the best quarterbacks in the country aren't entering the transfer portal because they're being paid a significant amount of money to stay at their current school, or they're going to the NFL. Those are their only real 2 options. So I think what happens is, maybe you see a G5 guy who is a late developer who's moving up, who you can get excited about, which would be like the Cam Ward route. guys like that who kind of slip through the cracks. Maybe that's Mestamaker this year, whose story it was crazy before he started playing at North Texas. But when it comes to guys like the Rayolas and the Lagways, kind of like those post-type 5-stars who haven't quite panned out yet, like some of that I think is they're good players, but they're really not great players. And the fact that they're transferring probably says more about how some teams are willing to overpay just based on what's available. And there other schools are like, we're not really comfortable matching that. Like I know that Scott Satterfield said that they couldn't afford to keep Sorsby. Like at this point. And we've seen other Cincinnati players who are kind of entering the portal that makes you wonder about the financial situation for that program at the moment, because they seem to be losing a lot of their better players. So
Kelsey's, where you at?
Yeah, I know. You got that
Come on.
New Heights. I mean, Travis, I know your future wife has money, buddy. You need to start pouring some of that into the Bearcats program. Come on, let's get our priorities straight. I mean,
can we get song titles replacing the jersey names on the back of Cincinnati jerseys? Now that's an NIL deal that I think that we can get behind.
If Larry Ellison's wife can convince him to spend $10 million on Underwood, you should be able to convince your wife to put $10 million into Sorsby. But yeah, I don't think there's a sure thing. Like there is none of these quarterbacks. Like I like Sorsby. I liked Sorsby a lot while he was still at Indiana. So I'm a fan of his, and I think he'll fit into what Texas Tech does. I think Mestamaker is going to fit, but it's like when it comes to guys like Rayola or Lagway, I don't know. I think that there's a very good chance both will end up in better situations as far as the talent around them. But I mean, I know that some people are like mentioning Oregon as a possible spot for Rayola. I heard the far more likely landing spot for Dylan Rayola is not going to be Oregon. It's going to be Louisville. That's what I've been hearing. So I don't know if that feels more like a lateral move to me than it does like a move up.
Program wise, but not coaching wise, in my opinion.
Correct. Better offense.
I think you get better coaching as a quarterback with Jeff Brom, in my opinion.
Yeah. He's been great at developing quarterbacks and maximizing what they can do.
Yes.
The DJ Lagway one, I did feel, sometimes you don't want to be too critical, but when I was selling DJ Lagway, didn't love the inconsistencies and I didn't love the injury history. And I thought that was something that was brought up from Sumrall, was he even was more concerned about work ethic, which having, no knowledge of that, I was like, oh, that might make some sense. And then the injuries that he brought up as well were concerns. And then all of a sudden you see DJ didn't like maybe that line of questioning or saying, hey, so I'm going to go somewhere else. So in any case, it does that to me is a big red flag. If you start hearing those things and he's not willing to fight through it and work through it, and maybe he just needs a fresh start, which can be good for everybody. Maybe that's more what it has to do with. But I did think that was interesting that those concerns were brought up.
Do you think it was, this is going to sound, maybe I should go, carrot and the stick. Have you ever heard bear in the hair? It's like, what makes a fox run at its top speed? Is it chasing the hare or being chased by a bear? It's the same idea as carrot and the stick, but since we're talking about college football players, I didn't want to bring that visual up, but hey, you get it. It was as if John Sumrall wanted to give DJ Lagway hard coaching at the negotiating table, right? See how you take it. And it's just that's the test case. If you can't take it, well then, okay, we've got another option right there. Again, just me sort of reading into the tea leaves of some of the reporting there in terms of what's next. Drew Mestamaker, maybe not a surefire thing at Oklahoma State.
I mean, I think that's the most likely spot. But honestly, if I'm a quarterback, I'm shopping myself around. If somebody else is, especially if I'm a guy who I'm not if you look at Mestamaker's history, it's not like he's a surefire NFL prospect. It's not to say he can't play in the NFL, because if he continues to develop, but I think for some guys, you probably need to prioritize my earning potential right now, not what my possible earning potential is in the future. Whereas other guys, I think you should probably be more concerned about the future, which could get me off on another tangent about Rayola. But last time I did that, I got in trouble.
I think that Drew Mestamaker is extremely attractive because of the eligibility that he has left.
Mm-hmm.
If you can if you can put out one of those Darian Mensah type, go ahead and let's do a 2-year deal with a pretty good price based on this year's market. If I trust my own development, we can take the raw talent that he's shown, good size, good skills, and put him in front of a better offensive line. Put him with some, better skill players around him. If I'm Drew Mestamaker, 100%, you go and test the market right there. Though I'm sure Oklahoma State fans were hoping that when you hired Eric Morris, this was going to be a package deal. So it could still end up there. I don't have a read from an insider perspective, but I think it's very interesting for Mestemaker because of his youth and because of the long runway that you could get out of him. Could be a really interesting one to see.
There's also, I think we've seen this trend of quarterbacks going with their coaches or offensive coordinators, which is great. Like, I get why it happens. There will be somebody who's like, no, this kid was really good for this level. And I'm not saying that's Mestemaker. I think Mestemaker goes with Eric Morris if it makes sense. But there will be one of those. Like, that's where I think if you're a Florida fan, you've got to feel like, hey, Buster Faulkner, have seen Philo for a couple years every day in practice. He knows his makeup. And he feels confident basically betting his future on the quarterback coming with him. I think you have to feel pretty good about that. But I don't think it means all of these are just going to automatically happen. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. The other name that I think is intriguing is Kenny Minchie at Notre Dame. You know, I don't think it's the worst case. There's only one ball. You lost out to CJ Carr in a quarterback competition. You know, you look at how good he's been. That explains a lot. That could be somebody that, you know, could be a find similar to, you know, a Dante Moore. It didn't work out at one. Now, Dante Moore played a lot, but, you know, there's only one ball. You're in a deep depth chart. Finding somewhere else to play, he could be somebody that could flash.
Talk like a money ball efficiency approach, like, or finding the market inefficiency. You think of how a lot of these quarterback transfers have gone out. It's like, obviously, Miami paid Cam Ward a ton of money, got every single dollar's worth of more out of it. But you also see, like, some of these, you know, one and done types who are seeking the big payday don't really live up to the paycheck that they end up getting. And a lot of times you see that the more valuable guys that you end up getting in the portal are the guys who maybe were highly rated players who did not win starting jobs at other schools and left to seek jobs elsewhere with multiple years of eligibility left. And that's like a guy like a Minchie, like a Keinholz. Like, I think of Luke Altmaier at Illinois. He lost the quarterback battle to Jackson Dart at Ole Miss, comes to Illinois for 3 years, and I don't think Illinois is regretting any single dollar they gave that kid to play there. So I think you see that a lot.
I think Kenny Minchie could be the next Joe Burrow. Kenny Minchie, Joe Burrow, Kenny Minchie, Joe Burrow as a trophy winner. But yeah, I mean, to your point, that's always where my mind goes. Joe Burrow couldn't get on the field at Ohio State, goes to LSU, has a couple years. The 18 years, okay, pretty solid. And then, of course, 19, everything explodes for him in that magical run for the Tigers.
Dante Moore at Oregon right now.
Dante Moore at Oregon. That's another one. Yep. Any other names that have popped? I think those are the biggest headline ones that have popped. Again, January 2nd is when this thing actually opens. But, you know, thanks to our deeply sourced team over at CBS Sports, we've got a good crowd who's able to sort of paint the picture for us. Chris Hummer, Matt Zenitz, Cooper Patagna, and the like. So it's been very interesting to follow. But again, we won't get the finalized pieces falling into place until after the new year. Any other names you got your eye on?
As far as that haven't come out yet?
Yeah, or just sort of like because you mentioned tying. I did not know the Dylan Raiola potential sort of angling that could have him wind up at Louisville. I knew that Louisville is on the list of looking for a quarterback. But
yeah, I don't know any names that haven't emerged yet that are about to know. But I that was one of the bigger things that I heard yesterday was just the Louisville with Raiola connection that I did not see coming, but actually makes a lot of sense to me.
One of the headline, as somebody who appreciates a good SEO trick, or at least like some good headline writing, got an email news alert blast yesterday. Arch Manning skipping the NFL draft.
What?
That is a hell of a way to announce college football player is going to continue playing college football. I was like, what?
Genius. It's genius.
We got Arch Manning, NFL draft, and skipping, which makes it seem like he's turning his nose up at it.
Is it after missing out on playoffs? They're throwing playoffs.
Oh, after college. Guys, Danny needs to sit in some of these big meetings. He needs to tell some of y'all SEO experts how to run this.
I think that's great. I think that's awesome. I think it's great for college football. It's great for us. I told you guys before, I think I was selling Texas coming into the season. I think next year's year to buy. I did see CJ Baxter, a couple other players portaling for the Longhorns. I thought that was interesting. You know, maybe they're testing the waters. They can pretty much retain anybody they want to. So you kind of have to trust them. But as far as Arch coming back, I thought you saw a quarterback really come into his own, where I think he's going to come into next season with a ton of confidence, chip on their shoulder about what getting left out this year. I think Texas is going to be legit.
This was another one where it was like the Raiola is entering the portal, where it's treated like breaking news. It's like they said for months that he wasn't going to enter the NFL draft. So, I mean, yeah, okay. That
do you think if he would have come out, he would have been a top 10? Do you think or top 5 pick?
I know that some people are still very, very high on him. I think that he could have been. I think that it's hard to really predict what the NFL is going to do once they get those guys through like the combine and scouting, like thresher, how they feel about him. But I do think that, yeah, based on his talent and his potential, I do think he probably would have been a first-round pick. I don't know if he'd have been like the first, second, or third quarterback taken, but I know some people think he would be the number 1 pick.
Right.
Dude, yeah, I was going to say the drool from the interview process would just be too much. You know, it would be out of control. To your point, Danny, 11 total touchdowns to just 1 interception across the final 4 games. And it wasn't like they were playing against the Citadel or Eastern Illinois. That included a run of Vanderbilt, Georgia, and Texas A&M. 3 ranked opponents in the final 4 games. He was playing some of his best football there at the end of the season. Little bit rocky to start, little bit rocky in the middle of the year. And if his name wasn't Arch Manning, and if he hadn't been on campus since January of 23, then if that was just a regular freshman season for a player, we would have been like, all right, okay, that was a good job. All right, now we're excited for next season. And I think I'm using that to reset. Again, that is probably kid gloves. I'm maybe grading it on a curve here, because I do think it's fair to criticize why was he not better after spending that much time with Steve Sarkisian and that much time in a college program. But he finished the job well against quality competition. The season as a whole gets a pretty positive grade for Arch Manning. So I'm with you, Danny. I think that he'll come back. I think he's going to be good next season. I think Texas will be good next season. But ultimately, he's going to be judged by the tippy-top games against the best teams in the SEC and whether or not the Longhorns make it to the playoff.
I do think now that I thought about it, we're going to miss out on some real great talk, because, we've already started to see is Fernando Mendoza too big of a dork to succeed in the NFL talk. So we had an opportunity to have Mendoza is too big of a dork. That's why I would rather have the dude in the Warby Parker glasses commercial.
Xander in the tailgate, relative to the hype, he underperformed. Yes, that's what I'm saying. If you strip the hype away and you just give a 12-game analysis of how he performed against the schedule he played compared to the other quarterbacks in that conference, he was an above average SEC quarterback. And that was in his first season as a starter. So lots to build on, lots of excitement, obviously, with him coming back to likely lead the Longhorns offense in 2026. We mentioned on Monday's show, do you think we're going to see more of these announcements about re-signing the way that USC had been doing?
Yeah, it's cheap heat.
We said yes, absolutely. And one of the big ones we get is Jaden Maeva has re-signed for USC for 2026. Now, the Trojan schedule is tough next season. And at the same time, I think with Jaden Maeva back in a 9-3 campaign this year, the expectation is that USC should be a fringe playoff team. They'll start the year ranked in the preseason top 25. Why are you shaking your head already?
You're already doing it?
Yes.
You're already buying in. You're already selling USC as a playoff team.
He loves it.
Every single year with you.
It's like a drug.
Yes.
You can't quit.
100%.
I might be right there with you, though.
Yeah, spot the lie. A fringe playoff team. They will start.
Are they also losing like Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane?
Top 3 pass catchers. Throw McCree in there too. Yeah, they're losing their top tight end. Yes, I've done this I have gone through to the bottom of, oh no, Jaden Maeva is coming back to an offense that's losing everybody, but then circled back up to, well, the player development has improved, and we know that the recruiting's been good. And we know that the financials are in an improved situation. So maybe you get a couple portal pieces. Yeah, listen, Jaden Maeva's 12-4 as USC starting quarterback. Mm-hmm. He had some flaws, but after having 8 interceptions in 6 games last season, he cleaned it up a little bit. Still had a little bit of the turnover bug at times during the year. And he was not good away from home. 16 touchdowns to 2 interceptions at home. You flip that on the other side. What was it, like 6-5 when he goes on the road? So there are marked places for improvement. But then Lincoln Riley even, addressed it. He was like, yeah, I mean, we want players to be excited about re-signing with USC. We want our fans to be excited about them jumping on board. So what are your expectations for Jaden Maiava?
He's going to be good. He was good this year. He'll be good next year. He'll be a Heisman candidate. He's going to lead USC to a national title. USC is back.
Do you think he's a Makai Lemon merchant, or do you think that he's got the ability to raise the overall caliber of the passing game?
No, I think that he has a chance to keep improving. I think he improved this year, and I think he has a chance to continue improving. I do think that it will be important for USC to make sure that they have good players for him to throw the ball to, but I think that's important for anybody who's trying to compete at the top level of the sport. I think the more interesting thing here, going back to our previous discussion, is Maiava's return. What does that mean for Houston Longstreet?
I was thinking that they might be able to keep him.
So do I, but I wonder if that's another name we could see float out there to the portal.
That'd be big. I looked at this. I was talking about it yesterday, and I looked at it as the quarterback position seems secure for 26 and 27 in a really good way, because I know people around USC liked what they saw when Longstreet got on campus, and they think that he could be really good eventually. Nice not to have to rush him. A luxury to not have to rush him into action in 26. And 28 too, I suppose. Let's see. Any other NFL draft watch that you got your eyes on?
I mean, yeah, but we're not going to know until after the playoffs. Dante Moore.
Oh, yeah, that's
great call.
Yeah,
because that impacts the portal and sort of like all the other pieces here.
Yeah, I hope he comes back. I'd love to see him again. That was my play with Dante Moore coming back, Arch Manning coming back. Those two playing for a national title, but I do think he's going to get a really, really strong draft grade if he wants to come out. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say he could be the number 1 pick taken, or the number 1 quarterback taken. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I do know he would go pretty high. But I think he could be potentially one of one next year if he comes back and has another solid season.
I mean, again, it's hard to predict how the NFL draft machine will go, but I do feel like there's a very good shot that Moore would be one of the first 2 quarterbacks taken this year.
So,
my suspicion is he won't be back.
What about Ty Simpson? Great one from the tailgate.
I don't know. I mean, what's his health status?
That too.
I think he has a chance to come back for another year, but it's like the rumors about his back injury, if that's real, and depending on what the injury is, does he want to go like declare for the draft and then have like back surgery? You know what I mean? Like that's not going to be very good for his evaluation process. So I don't know.
Just 4 appearances as a freshman in 22. If he was able to claim that red shirt there, that would say that he should have 1 left. If he wanted to be a 5th-year senior. So
it might come down to, I mean, if they are healthy and they can win a couple games and he plays as good as he did in the first 8 games, maybe that's him taking the moment to come out. Maybe that's what it comes down to. So I think there might be a lot at stake for Ty Simpson here, because I do not think you'd want to put out that film unless there was a back injury. And then, like to Tom's point, like, is that really what you want to go into this valuation when they start poking and prodding you every which way? I don't know if he has the upside. I've always think he's more of a 2nd-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, like either come back to Bama or somebody else will pay you $4 million. Try to see if you can play your way back into the 1st round, or or you're a 2nd rounder again next year, but you got $4 more million in your bank account.
Yeah, Keelan Russell, for those who don't remember, is the very, very talented freshman who everybody's excited about what he could be. So Alabama, even if Ty Simpson does not go to the NFL draft, if he pursues the portal, Alabama has it already, the succession plan set up there in Tuscaloosa. I'm really going to lean on y'all for this one. Jeremiah Love. What's the NFL draft outlook for Notre Dame?
Yeah,
it's a 1st-round pick, probably
top 10,
maybe. Yeah,
depends on how he tests, but Yeah.
I mean, I've long said I thought he was better than Genty, and Genty was at what, he went 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that.
6th. So here's what we've got from running backs. We got Genty went 6th, Bijan went
5.
8,
Mhm.
8. Saquon went 2nd, Fournette 4th, Ezekiel Elliott 4th, Josh Jacobs was 24, Najee Harris was 24. So
I mean, if you look, hold on, what's the tankathon? Let me see what the actual projected NFL draft order is right now. I mean, I don't know how many of those teams that are going to be picking early are in need of like a running back, so he could fall because of that. But I think he's going to be a first-round pick at a minimum.
Yeah. That was I think that's the biggest certainty declared for the NFL draft that's jumped out recently. Am I missing ones?
Not that I can remember.
Well, we mentioned Keelan Russell. What about his head coach? What about Biff? What about the Michigan coaching search? We'll get into all that and more next.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast as we continue with the carousel that never ends. So let's jump on that coaching carousel. So our own Richard Johnson, nice article on CBSSports.com yesterday, where he continued to shine a light on a potential of something that we obviously did a little bit more research than we did just talking to each other, but we're so smart. We're coming up with the same ideas. What if Biff just runs this thing that with so much uncertainty around this athletic department? And while there is an indication that Ward Manuel will still be the athletic director, again, check out his story, some of the reporting there. There's not a Ward's going to get fired next week, unlike that day when it seemed like Ward was going to get fired. Was it on Thursday? Then all of a sudden another statement saying, no, he's not fired. So Ward Manuel, where he will be in terms of the Michigan athletic department, I think that this is a Michigan school, a university that is going to let all of the proper processes play out, in which case Biff Poggi could end up doing it. Biff Poggi, it appears, would like to, by all indications, would like to be able to step up to the opportunity.
I would like to be the head coach at Michigan if they're willing.
You know what? I'm good. If y'all want to come back and talk to me in like 4 years, it's just much like a lot of candidates. And if I was advising them, it's like, let's give Ann Arbor a little while to, cleanse themselves of what's been going on these last couple years. So Danny, how do you see the latest twists and turns and scuttlebutt in the Michigan coaching search?
I think there's a lot of play here, obviously, and I do think this is kind of a display of confused leadership. Who's making this decision? What's happening with Ward Manuel? I think that's very, very much up in the air. So I think they're trying to see who's out there, right? And I think Biff Poggi is probably a good fallback plan. And if it does, I think you're sell if you're Biff Poggi, because I definitely think he wants to do this. And some school is going to figure this out. Maybe it's Michigan. You say, you know what? Just elevate me to, interim head coach for a year, kind of like Stanford did with Frank Reich, or, we'll call me head coach, but I know it's a shorter term deal. Pay me $2 or $3 million bucks, and the rest that you were going to pay for a $9 million coach, or however much you were going to pay top dollar for a Kalen DeBoer, whoever it was from some other school, put that into the players, and they'll have a better roster and a coach who's just going to be a figurehead anyway. You try to find good coordinators, you pay them, and you see if it can work. Because I don't know what's going to be out there for Michigan. I know it's a top tier job, but there are so many guys that are locked up and secured. Do you really want to pay those buyouts? And maybe they do, and that wouldn't surprise me either. But I do think they've got kind of Biff Poggi sitting in the back pocket just in case.
I mean, I think that the timing on all of this is terrible for Michigan.
Yeah.
Like There's just so many things working against him in this search, like the open-ended investigation that you mentioned, into the athletic department, like that has no end. It's like, if you are a coach who's being considered for this job, or you are considering this job, you're stepping into a situation where you don't know what this open-ended investigation is going to find and what kind of fallout there could be from that. And it's like, so you're kind of stepping into a tricky spot. And it's just, I don't know, man. It feels like a mess. It just, I don't know who's really running things. I don't think they have a president right now at
Oh, yeah,
Michigan.
that's true. It's not a full-time university president either. And so
Yeah.
the coaching search, the way that the reporting from Richard and Brandon Marcello also, I believe, worked on the story co-byline there. Turnkey ZRG, again, our enemy in the coaching search industry. We would gladly undercut them. We'll do it for much, much cheaper, but we will provide you none of the liability coverage that Turnkey does, where you're able to blame it all. No, we want you to assume all the responsibility. We just want the money and the ability to do the answers. So yes, Michigan has turned this thing over in terms of the coaching search. They have taken their hands off the wheel. They are giving it to the search firm. And that's why it's leaky. That's why it's buzzy. That's why there's a lot of back channeling and talking and questions and overreactions and white smoke emojis, because there's a lot of stuff that happens when the search firm gets their hands on a process. And so that's where we're at. I do not think that while it can be reported that, Ward Manuel is still the athletic director, I think that the school is very intentionally going third party on this one. And that could work out. Search firms do a lot of big name splashy hires. Might also not work out, because they could say, hey, who's running that thing? If I'm going to sign up for this kind of job and leave where I'm at, then I need a little bit more confidence in the overall health of the operation.
And I don't know. And the idea of keeping Poggi on as what would you call him? Like
a caretaker
bridge option.
Yeah.
So then are you punting on a year of Bryce Underwood?
Yeah.
I mean, if I am Bryce Underwood, I signed with Michigan to play for one coach. That coach gets fired. I've got 3 years. And now they're going to keep another coach on as a bridge option. And you know what? Maybe Bryce Underwood is a huge Biff guy. Maybe Bryce is like, I believe in him. I want to play for him and all that kind of stuff. And it works out great. But I also just wonder, you get this kid for 3 years. You're spending a lot of money on him. He has a very, very high ceiling. It would kind of feel like you're punting on a season. And I just don't know if optically that would be the best thing. So I don't know. It's a messed up situation, and it's mostly Sharon Moore's fault.
I don't know, though, because you still have Chip Lindsey. You still have your coordinators, so maybe.
Are people excited that we still have Chip Lindsey?
Are we excited about that?
Are you going to blame that, though, on Bryce Underwood's lack of development? Or are you going to blame him? Like we've talked about the lack of receivers. Maybe they can go spend and get him some receivers, So, yeah, it's going to feel like they punt on the season, but I don't know if it's the worst case scenario, unless you lose Bryce Underwood, where he's probably watching this closely, too, and wouldn't be surprised if his name pops up in the portal.
That's
go ahead.
As far as the actual coaching search, DeBoer came out and said, I'm staying at Alabama. Or I don't know what but they asked him.
He had to.
Yeah. Are you going to be Alabama's coach next year? And he's like, yes. Which is pretty much as definitive an answer as you can get when you get asked those questions. There was no speaking around it. There was no well, I love it here and blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada. He just said yes. But there are still, and it reminds me a lot of the Penn State situation, where there were a lot of people at Penn State who were convinced they could get DeBoer. There are still a lot of people at Michigan who think that they can get Kalen DeBoer if Alabama loses. And I just don't know if that's realistic, considering he came out. Now, it wouldn't be the first time a coach straight up lied to the face when asked a question, but you typically don't see guys you've seen, they've learned lessons from doing that, and they just dodge the question. Typically, when guys are coming out and being straightforward with it these days, they mean it. So I don't know if that's realistic. The fact every day that Dillingham doesn't have a contract extension at Arizona State just makes you wonder a little bit more. Jed Fish is apparently not in the running for the gig anymore. So I don't know. it is a very, very difficult situation to figure out. But as you mentioned, Chip, it's a combination of the uncertainty in that athletic department mixed with a search firm that has more leaks in it than typically does if you're just doing it with like an AD and somebody below them. And it's going crazy out there.
And also, you don't want to make a $50 million mistake.
No.
Like you've got to get these right.
Wait, you're talking about the school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking like if you, let's say you just like you want to get rid of Biff Poggi, you want to go in a new direction, and you feel like you have to make a change because you lost somebody. Like you can't afford to miss on these. It can be a very, very expensive mistake, as we've seen from everybody else that's thought they had a home run hire.
Yep. We'll see. Any other assistant moves of note that have jumped out recently? I've got one.
Go.
Frank Wilson to Ole Miss.
Oh yeah, that's the player to be named later in the Lane Kiffin trade.
Shout out to Wilson Alexander of the Advocate. Now, granted, this is going to be, I'm going to give you the stats. It's going to make it seem a little less chaotic, but there have been 17 staffers swapped between Ole Miss and LSU in total.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, it's 14 from Ole Miss to LSU and just 3 from LSU to Ole Miss, but still awfully incestual there in that neck of the SEC with everybody just sort of trading cousins, swapping back and forth around there. I mean, including at future LSU coaches serving as active Ole Miss coaches here for this college football playoff game coming up on Saturday.
Do you think Frank still has like bonuses in his Ole Miss contract based on how LSU does next year?
No, what I think it happens, and this is where I'm definitely just like trying to just speculate or just talking. Very clear. Chip Patterson is just talking, not. I think that we're going to see players go from one team to the other.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Without a doubt. I mean, have you heard, did you hear Trinidad Chambliss? He was doing some pre-playoff media with the college football playoff logo backdrop, and they were asking him, and it was like a coach speak where he did not say, I'm not leaving. It was very much, when the season's over, I have to evaluate everything, see where everything stands. And it was very much up in the air, where I think he's gone if he gets the year.
Have you seen the commercial where Trinidad's in the transfer portal, but it's for
yes.
Yes.
I mean, maybe he gets the trolling from Lane. He's taught him in more ways than one.
From the best.
Yes. I saw that the other day, and I was like, really?
Frank Wilson, who was the interim coach, he was a huge part of the recruiting operation at LSU and has been for like a long time in different tenures. I mean, this I was like, okay, so some LSU players will probably follow Frank to Ole Miss, and obviously I think some Ole Miss players are going to follow Lane and everybody else down to LSU. Whew, that's a messy corner to the universe.
Steve asked in there, would he enter the transfer portal when his team is in the semifinal? And that could be any player. That'll be tricky. It would not surprise me, but I hope it doesn't happen, but it absolutely could.
Now, there's a window to when you have to enter the portal, correct?
Right, but it doesn't close till the 17th. Is it 15 days?
It's about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
if you made the final,
he could wait. Yeah.
And there has to be some clause. Then there's something. There's got to be
for the title participants. You've got
to have extra time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's still, I mean, even as much as we've talked about it, and we've seen Bo Pribula, we saw Malik Murphy, players, that were on teams like the portal. We've already seen the players announce now. We might have playoff players that just announce I'm going to hit the portal before January 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
We got a real tree falls in the woods situation, something that I'm sure that the administrators at this university did not imagine. But Bill Belichick fired his offensive coordinator and his special teams coordinator, and I don't know if anybody cared.
What was that? It was like Monday, wasn't it, or last week?
Yeah.
I'm sure you threw a party.
Truthfully, anytime that I've been on like a radio hit or sort of put in the position, because our friends in the media industry, they especially love the all right, come on, Chip. Like Roddy Jones does a big deal because he's Georgia Tech. We're about the same age or so. He's like, all right, Chip, come on. Now, as an alum, they always like front load it with as an alum. And I was like, well, Roddy, as an alum, I think that it was very, very poor performance, and I would like accountability for the poor performance. That if you went into next season with everybody the same and everything good, and you just acted like it was just a couple bad breaks that kept y'all from being a bowl team, that would be extremely disappointing and add to the list of failures of leadership top to bottom. That introducing literally any accountability. The bar could not be lower, but at least I was like, okay, at least there's that. And then I imagine that Bobby Petrino could be the offensive coordinator, and it just all ends up spiraling off into a different world. So also
that would be a very interesting dynamic. Bill Belichick and Bobby Petrino.
Who's running this search?
What?
Who's running this search
for the
next coordinator?
I also think it's funny that the headlines of a couple of things were like Bill Belichick cleans house. And it's like, wait, hold on. So the only coaches who kept their jobs are all the Belichicks and the Lombardis. So we got rid of everybody that's not a Belichick or a Lombardi. Are there any more Belichicks or Lombardis that I am unaware of? Is that how we're going to backfill the non-family members with more family members?
Who knows? There could be a new one on the way.
It's like in the old in the old like Hebrew times, like in the BC era, is like so and so was named king of Judah at the age of 8, and he reigned for 21 years. He did not follow in the Lord's ways the way that his fathers did.
Who is going to want the job?
I mean, that's
where Petrino makes sense.
Yeah, an old crony, an old chum buddy.
Somebody call plays. You do whatever you want.
Mike McDaniel, once he gets fired by the Dolphins, is going to be the North Carolina offensive coordinator.
Goodness gracious. All right. Coming up on the other side, Bowlnanza. Storylines to watch for Wednesday's bowl action, plus a new schedule for the Atlantic Coast Conference. It's confusing and more. Next.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast. Yes, we do have a couple of bowl games coming up here on Wednesday night. Old Dominion, South Florida, playing in the Cure Bowl. Louisiana and Delaware playing in the 68 Ventures Bowl, and they're about to come fast and furious here over the course of the next couple of weeks. So we've got clearly South Florida. You're going to be out Alex Golish. I believe we'll have Byron Brown as a coach.
His coaching debut.
Coach.
I thought you were going to say have him under center. I was like, nope. This is the backup QB bowl, baby.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah.
What
are we watching? What we got our eyes on?
There's a reason the Twitter tip is that first half under. 2 backup quarterbacks making first career starts. One of them's coaches. Byron Brown's first game is play caller. I'm assuming that's what he's doing. I don't know. This one could be a special bowl performance by both teams. Could be pretty sloppy in a fun way.
What's our first half? 27.5?
I got it at 26.5. Yeah.
Oh God, it's dropping. Missed my chance.
It was 27.5. The juice was very, very high.
Okay. Got it. And then Louisiana, Delaware, don't have a good feel for this. Delaware's going to have some sort of bigger picture, like, oh my God, we're in a bowl. But, is that going to give you a boost or not? Danny, I don't really have a good read on that one. Do you?
No idea.
Okay.
My personal philosophy this year is that unless it's Jacksonville State or Kennesaw State, we kind of fade that league.
Conference USA.
Yeah. So I would go with the Cajuns here. And it played that way last night. Jack State, the big win, saluting the veterans.
And if I remember correctly, pretty decent job by the Cajuns of stabilizing what was a bad start to the year.
Yeah.
Like strong finish. Am I right about that? Like just maybe 4 out of the last 5, something like that.
Yeah, they didn't. Let me see. They went 5-3 in conference. They won their last 4 games.
Yeah. Could have been
included road wins at South Alabama and Arkansas State. They beat Texas State, and then they finished with the rival win over ULM.
Yeah. So
they lost to the top of the Sun Belt and beat everybody else.
good Mendoza line team for
Mhm.
for the Sun Belt right there. Again, those are going to be your 2 games there. In terms of just some overall housekeeping, on Thursday, we will be giving you our college football playoff locks. So make sure you come and hang out at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And then saved it for last because it's so daggum confusing. DK, what are we doing with this ACC schedule?
I have no idea. Can you give me a little teach me like a kindergartner how to explain this?
Well,
Yeah, maybe
sometimes
Tom
when
can.
when a man and a woman fall in love, they just make a sloppy mess. And yeah, like honestly, honest question for you two.
Yep.
Are you not ashamed of this league? Are you not ashamed to be associated with it?
Shame
This is a
really
strong word.
Yeah, no. Shame just went out the door when I was when I was attending an ACC school. So I think that the absence of shame is kind of always going to be tied to my experience at it with the ACC. For those who are not aware of what we're talking about, 5 teams are going to play 8 ACC games, while the other 12 teams will play 9 ACC games. I will say, in the press release, we did get something that is maybe a little bit more attractive for an ACC football fan.
The tiebreaker?
Yeah. They
Yeah,
didn't tell us what the new tiebreakers are going to be, but they did vow to adjust the tiebreaker situation.
If you're 8-1 and the other team is 7-1, does the tiebreaker go to the 8-1 team?
Yes.
Because then it's not fair that the other team only got to play 8 games.
It's always been by winning percentage. They always have.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's not fair. This is a stupid league doing stupid things, who then has to do other things to make them feel better about the stupid decisions that they've made. Maybe the Notre Dame game should count as conference games.
Ooh.
Would that fix it? Is that an idea that did not come up in that room? And if it didn't come up in that room, am I correct in calling them stupid? I think so.
I'm just glad they're going to fix it.
Yeah, they'll fix it. All right.
Yeah,
it'll be fixed.
Danny, one of our friends, Adam Gold, has advocated for no future schedules. Just come up with a new schedule every single year that is entirely just based on whatever would be good for your best teams.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
Like let all
Give
of
them the best chance.
Yeah, like let all of just every single year you show you don't even know the schedule till you show up to football kickoff, and then we are just going to we're going to build the schedule right there based on whatever's going to be better for the best teams.
What?
Is that why Clemson, Florida State, Georgia Tech, and North Carolina are part of the 8-game ACC schedule?
Yeah, because if you fill them up with a conference game, it makes their schedule worse.
What if you just quietly don't invite either Syracuse or Boston College to the
meeting?
to the meetings next year? Just oops, we're only a 16-team league now.
Well, the problem is you can't say that about Cal and Stanford because I'm ready to run through a wall for those teams. Are you kidding me?
I'm not saying Cal or Stanford. I'm saying Syracuse or BC. I mean, you can't get rid of Wake Forest. That would upset North Carolina and Duke. So you can't get rid of either Cal or Stanford. You don't want to get rid of SMU. If you just kicked BC out of the league, who's really crying?
I don't know. Matt Ryan, maybe.
Or just invite UConn. Bring them in. Go to 18.
Create some balance.
Yeah.
Do you trust the process enough to where for the tiebreaker you just use the highest ranked team, or does that get conspiratorial?
I like the Mountain Wests. I don't care. If we're really talking about the best team, then yeah, use a little power ratings average because more often than not, it's going to spit out a good, especially in the ACC, it's going to spit out the team that's going to give you the best chance to have a decent showing in the playoff.
Right.
So it's if you can't if it's done on the field and you're Virginia and you don't have a power rating as good as Miami, guess what? Virginia's in. But if it's having to choose between Miami and Duke, the power rating is going to spit out Miami.
Right.
Then you'll get Virginia, Miami, a top 20 matchup in the ACC championship game.
Yeah. I think that's the logical thing in this current format.
Yeah. We will be back on Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern time to get you set for the college football playoff. What?
I just like Jerry's idea. The ACC could do a weekly show where the ADs of the league rank the teams.
They'll take off their hats though at the door.
So and this week we've got a mystery committee member. Who could it be?
It's Jordan.
We'll be back 11 a.m. on Thursday to give you our best bets for the college football playoff first round and more. So make sure you come and hang out. And you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fernell. You can follow him at Danny Cadell. You can follow me at Chip_Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Go ACC.